jingle bells, jingle all the... Wait a minute. Are you guys watching me? Well, since I got you here, I bet you want to learn how to make these awesome Christmas trees, don't you? What am I talking about? Of course you guys want to learn how to make them. That's why you're here, right? And good news for you, I've got a few different sizes and styles, so we're going to go over all kinds of good stuff, like my cuts and dimensions, some assembly tips that I learned from others, as well as when I did this here. I don't know why, but I really fell in love with these ones, and I just kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I watched a whole bunch of videos, looked at a whole bunch of different Etsy things. So again, this isn't just one way to build it. I'll show you a couple different things. And then at the end, I also want to go through some size comparisons, because I didn't want to just copy other people's sizes, and I really didn't know what size I liked the best. I kind of like these like tabletop sizes better than some of these, but I've also seen some people doing like a 2x4 or a really big one, right? So I'll give you some size comparisons that you guys can look at, maybe like next to a paint can or something like that. That way you guys can judge for yourself on this. I think this one's like 3.5. So let's get into it. Going over to our pallet scrap pile, we're gonna grab a piece. Yeah, this one looks pretty good. Let's mill it up. And that's why I love my planer. Took that dirty piece, turned it in this pretty looking thing. And even though this wood looks pretty good, I'm still gonna rip these edges because it's not 100% straight. It's kind of, you know, jaggedy and stuff. But that's the best part about being able to mill your own wood. It's gonna make it perfect. I tried it with some scrap wood, as you've seen earlier, and they're not lining up properly. So you really gotta have these square, or it looks funny, or it won't line up properly. And that's why I got this little jig here for, which is super fun for ripping things down. And now we got S4S for a piece of pallet wood, right? Not too shabby. Now we're going to get all our angle cuts. You're just going to change your miter over to 30 and make sure it doesn't lock into that 31 point. Oh, move this over. Sorry, not going to multitasker. All right, 30 degrees right there. As you can see, maybe it's kind of dark, but that's 30. So if you want something a little more uniform, where it's cuts like that, remember you need to flip your board when you're going, or change your angle of your miter. But if you want something a little different, like my boy Aaron did here, you see, he didn't flip it on those, right? So they're gonna have the same angle, and it's just a little something different. So we're gonna try that out and see what it looks like. So this first top piece is gonna be 6, and I'm measuring on this inside line here, right? So I already marked it there, but just measure from the top there to, it's hard showing you on camera, but from here to here, it's gonna be this 6. And get a piece that looks like that. Since you're gonna need 5 more of these bad boys, go ahead and get yourself a little stop block, set it up here. Okay, OSHA, don't have a heart attack. Oh, that split. Looks like we're gonna have to make another pallet. Now, since this is a new size, a new style for me, I haven't made this before. I've only got the measurements for like coming up this way. So what I'm going to do is we're going to assemble this, and then we're going to measure it for the bottom, because I don't really know what size that is just yet. And the cool thing about these is you don't have to sand a whole lot. I'm just going to clean up these edges here, make it nice and smooth, because they might be handled by my children. But here you go, just kind of get all the edges nice and smooth. This first simple way to assemble it is from John at Biscuit Tree Woodworks. So thank you, John. Give you credit here. Just all you're gonna need is a flat piece of wood, right? Put that on the edge of your table here. Go ahead and clamp that down. That way you have something to work with. Don't need no fancy jig or anything. You just need a flat piece of wood. Then what you're gonna want to do is to start is to get your top pieces. Then you can get your 5.5, and here's my 6-inch. Put that there. Put them together like that. Just push it up against this flat wood. Don't need a jig or nothing. Boom. Simple enough. Now when it comes to attaching these things, I've seen people kind of glue it and then tack it in with a nail gun or something. I personally don't like the nail holes on it, and the wood glue is pretty strong, but I also do a little bit of super glue just to kind of like speed things up. 5.5 goes that way, and then you do your 6 here. Alright, so I'm going to do a line along here, but you're going to leave a little bit of space for the super glue. So put a little wood glue there, put a little wood glue there, get your super glue. That way, I don't have to nail it or wait a long time. I'm going to bond this in right away. We're just going to put this in, give it some pressure, and after a little while I'll be able to let go. Then the next step would be to connect the bottom. So you just put this flat piece up there, put a little glue on there, and do each side. But again, I don't know the size of the bottom for this one, so I'll show you that after we cut it. So we're going to work top down since we glued the top. Next we're going to do these. So how do you know what size? Well, I've seen some people make a simple little jig. This one I'm probably just going to eyeball it since I've never done it before, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I've seen all kinds of different jigs, but this is one of the most simplest ones I've seen. You just get 2 pieces, that way they're going to line up, so that way you can put them where you need them. So line this up on here. So now each time I do another one, it's going to match up. So when I do the other side, same thing, right? You can see that? Okay, that's the wrong side, like this side. Boom. So that's what we're going to do for this one. Just that way so they're all uniform. We're going to connect our bottom pieces. And once this kind of dries and holds, I'll be able to measure. So now I can figure out how big of this bottom piece I need. This actually turned out a little bit bigger than I thought it would, but it looks really nice. This is looking really good. I'm going to measure the inside here. And it looks like about 12 inches. We'll go 12 1/4. That might be a little big. We'll do 12 1/8, and we'll trim it down if we need. Put this in here. Uh-oh. It's a little short. Maybe, about 1/4 of an inch to 12 1/2, or do 12 3/4 and trim it. Hopefully that works. That's my last. Oh, that piece has holes in it. Oh, it's ugly. And I did the wrong freaking angle again. I can't do this. Alright, so the actual inside piece is going to be 12 1/2. And now, since this is the bottom, if it's nice and tight, no jig is needed. And there we go. Now it's assembled. That one's not bad looking. And for the bigger one, we're going to go with 10 1/2 down here. Again, 30-degree cut. This one lined up nice. I think this one's my favorite one. This one looks like it came out good. Now for my really big boy here, you're going to have one that's 5 1/2 for the top piece here, right? And then the other 5 pieces, these are 6 1/2. This bottom piece down here is going to be 12 1/2. And then the very bottom little leg is 10 inches. Again, remembering 30-degree cuts. Just remember that the top, you're going to flip the board when you're cutting. And then these, I did a little different. I did not flip the board, so you can see how the angle's a little bit different compared to this one. I flipped it each time, right? So just different styles. Let's get on with it. Now let's say you've got all your pieces cut and you know your measurements of your bottom piece and everything, right? Now you can go ahead and assemble bottom up or top bottom, whatever. But you did the top, now we're going to do the bottom, right? Same thing as before. I still like this method of having this little solid wall down here. And again, same thing. I like a little bit of wood glue and a little bit of super glue just to make things fast and clean, where we don't have to have any nail holes or anything like that, right? And the benefit on this is when you have this board here, because the first time I saw they did the bottom and then they switched and then they used this board for the top. They had to disconnect this, but you know, oh, that was another thing. Clamp this on. Now I can do both pieces at the same time. There we go. We've got, like I said, we got the top piece. Now after these bond, all we gotta do are the middle pieces, and boom, this one's done. You see how easy that was? That's why I think this is my favorite. This is my favorite way. I mean, again, like I said, you can make a jig like this. Some I've seen when they make a bigger tree, they have a 2x4, so it's a little bit thicker and bigger. So you just slide that in there. This way, yeah, and that'll help. This tree is too small to use this jig, but you know, you can make little jigs and things like that. Aaron Voss, again, love that guy, he's awesome. He made a big old jig, and that's how he made the 60-degree angle. And, you know, like this, because I'm talking about the 60-degree angle for that, and made these come down. Really cool jig. Again, I'm only making these for fun. I'm not going to try and sell them. I'm not going to try and make a whole bunch, so I'm not really wanting to make any expensive jigs or use a whole bunch of material or anything like that. But, again, like I said, I want it clean, quick, and easy. Alright, so now we just gotta assemble these boys here. And again, like I said, since I'm not using a jig, I'm just kind of eyeballing what looks good here. And so, it doesn't really matter. They're gonna be about even, pretty much, but still. And you'd be surprised, these joints are really strong. I was a little concerned when I was doing it. I was like, oh man, I don't know if that's going to hold. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. But you know what? It holds, and it's strong. I mean, this is just wood glue. I mean, these are sturdy boys. See? No holes. Inside, no screw holes, no pinholes, nothing. Just wood glue. This actually took longer. I didn't even use the super glue. This is just the wood glue. All these are. This is the first one I'm doing here. And for the bottom piece, we're going to make this 6 1/4. Again, 30-degree angle. And last but not least, the bottoms for these. A little bit of wood glue. And just to recap the dimension on this medium one, you're going to have one piece that's 4 1/2. The other 5 pieces are going to be 3 1/2. Then your bottom base right here, you're going to have one piece that's 6 1/2. And then the bottom little leg down here is 6 inches. Again, these are all 30-degree cuts. So, super simple. Set your miter one time and you're done with it. The only ones that were special was this one with the 60-degree cut. And again, everything else is pretty much a 30 on all the other cuts. So remember I told you guys I was going to go over size comparisons? Well, I grabbed a few things around the shop and we're going to start with the smallest one and work our way up. So you can see it's only got 2 layers each, but it's, you know, slightly bigger than the size of stain that you normally get. A little bit shorter than a paint can, right? So just for reference, if that's something you're looking at, these are about 3 1/2 inches long. So this is a little baby one. I thought it was kind of cute. I really like these. One thing though is that this is 3/4 inch thick. I think it's a little thick. I think I'd probably go with the 1/2 inch on these smaller ones. And you know, here's like a medium sized one. It's got 3 layers, same dimensions as that one, but again, I still think it's just a little thick. But this one's about the size, you know, about as tall as a paint can. So if you're looking for tabletop ones, maybe your tight bond, a little bit shorter than tight bond, you know. But you know, that's just something for reference there. Now this medium sized one, these are 4 1/2 and then 3 1/2, so roughly about 4 inches each piece right here. This one, same thing. It's about as tall as tight bond, you know, paint can. Width-wise, I believe it's like 7 inches wide, something like that. So you can kind of see here. Me personally, I think this medium one is kind of my favorite. I love how thin it is. It's not too fat, not too tall, not too wide. It's perfect for a tabletop. And, you know, maybe even if you want to put it on a shelf or on the wall or something. But I think this is my favorite. So after I go through all of these, you guys tell me which is your favorite. Also, you notice I didn't stain these. This is just the straight pallet wood. I just really like the way this came out. So this one's probably my favorite. But let's keep moving on. You guys tell me which one's your favorite down in the comments. So then we've got this large one here. These are 6 inches, I believe. And again, you can see, like, look how big it is compared to all these other items, right? So it's quite a few bigger ones. You know, you can see it's a foot wide, I want to say it was. And you know, you can just see, maybe if you make a couple, you could kind of put your medium size inside of it. That's kind of a cool looking design, right? So, and last but not least, we've got this big green one here, same size as this other one before, but this was just some scrap wood I had. Didn't really like the way it looked, so I painted it because it was kind of ugly. But again, really, for me, this is my large. Some people make them bigger, but again, I just wanted you guys to kind of see different sizes and dimensions and kind of real life items that you might have around the shop, so you can kind of visualize where you might want to go with this, because I saw no one doing any size comparisons, so I was like, I don't know what size I want. I don't want to just copy someone, and so that's why I built that one along with you guys there. So again, hope you guys liked this video. Down in the comments, let me know which of these was your favorite. What are you planning on making? And follow me for next week, because we're going to do some more Christmas projects. See you guys then.